So, story 43. I do a little talk here by the fireside. I was going to do this indoors because I'm more comfortable talking about these things indoors. I'm outdoors, I never know who's listening, but who cares? So, couldn't fit in my cookout time by the fire tonight and doing a story, so thought I'd take it out by the fire. This would be my fire poker. I don't know, at this point in my life I felt I needed a pirate sword. So I got a pirate sword. Story 43 is about my mother's house. The last house she had. Up until very recently. This was, these events happened from, I don't know, she'd been there for about 30 years, so right up to 2 years ago. Not a whole lot, well, a lot of different things. I'll tell you something about her house. She was built in 1957, like a ranch, had an indoor pool, or in-ground pool in the back. And, you know, when I moved to this area, my father lived there, my mom lived there, my brothers lived in this town, and I wanted to be around family because I've been gone for a while with the Army. And I did. I was here, but now everybody's gone and it's just me, and that's how life works out. My dad's died years ago, and my mom is a nursing home, and everybody else moved away. My dog's here, he barks at everything out on the street. Quiet. Alright, so this house, it's a 2-story house. Here's the thing about it. She turned it into a nursing home, like an adult care home. She had about six or seven people there that she took care of. And her and a few other hired workers, and myself included at times. And over the years, about 30 years, that place, almost 30 years, it was an adult care home, nursing home. And took care of mostly elderly people, but sometimes it was middle-aged people who had other health issues. And, well, you know, it sounds sad, but realistically, not many people left there alive. Some did, but I'd say about 90 to 95% of the people that came there were carried out with a sheet over them. And that because they were at the end of their life, you know. It was the end phase, the last chapter. And their families, my mother ran a very good home, Christian home, very Christian, and you know, said prayers and did Bible readings and things, and didn't force it on anybody, but most of the people really liked it. And their families really liked it, so they let their loved ones stay there to their last breath. You know, and we took care of them. And with the guidance of a doctor or nurse, you know, administered their end-of-life meds, you know, if we had to, usually, you know, morphine and such to help them ease through. My point is, a lot of people died there, and I knew quite a few of them. I really liked some of them. And, you know, I was there for a lot of their deaths, honestly. My mom thought it would be beneficial to me to go through that whole dying process with people. And it wasn't really something I wanted to do, but I did. And then I've got some ghost stories from that place, and other stories as well. Just talk about things I remember. No order. I didn't plan this. I had other stories I want to tell, but I have photographs I want to put with them, and they're long stories, so I'm going to put this one out there for now. Here's an upbeat story. A lot of times when people are dying, I found, and they're taking a long time to die. Could be days, could be weeks, maybe even months. Usually days and weeks. Quite often they see a loved one, deceased, their father or somebody, grandparent, comes to them and lets them know they're going to be there to take them home. And that's not uncommon, honestly. And one of our staff was an Indian woman, as an American Indian, and she was really with these people close, Donna. And she was a very spiritual person. And I recall there was an elderly woman that I'd become very close friends with. And I forgot her name, I'm sorry. I recall when her time came, this poor woman took her about a week and a half on her last phase. And it got to the point where you didn't know if she was even alive. You know, she couldn't even take water down. We wet her mouth and stuff to make her comfortable. And I talked to her about my first story on this whole series, about how I saw the angels. And I thought it would inspire her, but honestly, it frightened her. And she looked at me like, I don't know what she was thinking. She just like, why are you telling me this? I just thought she'd like to hear these things, you know, like, I don't know what she was saying. She looked at me kind of really profound. But she had about 3 days before she died. She wasn't talking. She couldn't take water down. It took the poor woman a long time to go. And I walked in there to see her, and she was just a bag of bones at this point, laying in bed. And she opened her eyes, and she grabbed my arm, and she says, she pulled me close to her, and she says, I want to tell you something. She says, I want to tell you something. She says, my father has been coming to see me at night. This woman's about in her 90s. And I'm like, right. And I just let her talk. And she said he'd come to her, and he's standing by a tree in the grass with a swing on it. And she said, he's telling me, he said, he's young again. And he said, I'm coming to take you home soon. And she grabbed my arm so hard. And she said, I want to tell you that. And that was the last I ever heard from her, because I told Donna this, and Donna looked at me, and she says, that happens a lot, Tim. She says, usually when that happens, they've got 3 days left. And it was 3 days later, she passed on. But that's not really a ghost story, but other ghost stories there, there were a bunch. Went down in the basement late at night to do some laundry, and I could hear somebody on the stairs slap the wall and turn the lights off. You could hear like their hand go, and the light switch click, all the lights went off, and it was right like 5 feet away, and I dashed up, there was nobody around. So my father, back when he was alive, he didn't believe in these things until he said, he didn't believe in ghosts. He didn't say they weren't real, he just never experienced one. Until he told me he was over there in a big heavy cookie jar, ceramic, just slid across the counter on its own, and he heard somebody say his name, call his name Ray, a few times. And he said, yeah, he was a believer of that. He thought it was funny. One time I was in there, and a woman had died of cancer. I knew her, and oh my God, she just took forever to go. She wasn't that old. And I prayed to God to please take her on. One night, God, take her, release her from that body of pain. And she did, she died that night. And about 4 weeks later, a month later, I had to stay at that house. And I wound up sleeping in a bed she was in. And I'm up there alone. night, and I'm laying there wide awake. Lights are on, and I had the blankets up out here, laying there on my back, and I felt somebody sit down on the bed next to me very gently, no doubt about it. And I pulled the covers up over my head like a kid, you know? And I wasn't afraid, I just didn't know what to think. And then very gently, very, very gently, somebody grabbed the covers and very slowly pulled them down off my face. And I didn't see anything, but they pulled the covers down off of me, very gently. And it was very gentle, and I figured it was probably her. I didn't feel threatened at all. That's all that. Another time, oh my God, there were some scary things. One fella passed on there. He wasn't a bad guy. He was just kind of an eccentric man, about in his mid-90s. And after he went, we'd see a black shadow go from his room across the hall to the other room where another old lady was staying. And she told me, and she had Alzheimer's, but she told me that a man in a black suit was coming over there at nights. He wasn't doing anything, he was just standing in there, and she didn't like it. Well, I believed her, because I've seen it, and other people have seen a black figure. That happened for about a month, then I think he passed on, moved wherever he was going. For me, some scary stuff happened. I was sleeping upstairs in a room, and countless people died in all these rooms. I mean, I think maybe 50 people died in that house, if not more. Not bad deaths, they were elderly, they passed on, they were good people. There was only one or two people that I would say I didn't think were good people, and you know what? Those people didn't die there. They were among the few that didn't. Everybody that was there that passed on were good people. Really good people, in my estimate. So I wasn't afraid of anything. But there was a few that were very unhappy, and they weren't even old people. They had different diseases, and we took care of them. It took them forever to go. They were very frustrated, angry at life, because they were in their health 1 minute, and then all of a sudden they're not, and they're in this nursing home, you know? It was a home. It wasn't like a nursing home. It was a home. It was very homey, you know, like a country home inside. We only took care of 6 or 7 people at a time. And, oh my God, I had to stay in that place for a few nights. I was upstairs alone in this room, double bedroom, by myself. And it was hot up there. It was wintertime, and I lived in upstate New York, so that means it's cold. So I used to the bed was right up against the window on the wall. And I used to crack the window about that, so I'd get a little breeze. And I'd lay there and just catch the cool breeze and breathe it, you know. It was roasting hot up there, I thought, with the heaters. I had too many heaters up there. So I'm laying there next to the wall. And I slept well up there until one night. I woke up, just woke up. And I looked at the window, and it was pitch black out, probably 3 in the morning. I don't know, it was early. And I looked at the window, and I felt distinctly threatened. And I shut the window, and then somebody knocked on the window real loud, like somebody rapping with their knuckles on the window. Rap, 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 rap. Oh my God, I didn't know I could move that fast. This didn't happen that long ago. I jumped up out of that bed so fast, and I got away from that window. And I was tired. I had to go to work in the morning, so I got in the next bed over, and I heard things moving around that room all night. I did not stay up there again. And I told my mom about it, and her office was right below that place. And she said she'd been hearing a lot of things, and something was rapping on her windows at night all the time, like that. And she got mad, because I never heard her say this, but she said, "You brought these things here," because she knows I'm spiritually sensitive. No, Mom, I didn't. A lot of people have died in this house. It's bound to happen. Well, we both heard in the same room. We'd be downstairs, and we'd hear a woman screaming and crying in distress. More than once. And coming from that room. And I heard it once. I was doing some work on the computer. My mom was over doing some work at her desk, her office. And I heard that, and I like perked up. And I'm thinking, like, I ran right up the stairs and opened the door. There's nobody upstairs. And I came downstairs and I said, "Did you hear that?" And she said, "Yes." She says, "I've heard it before." I said, "Well, I'm not losing my mind." I said, "Who is it?" And she said her usual thing, "I don't know, but God knows who it is." And that was it. She went back to work. Well, I was down there once again, about a week later, and once again I hear a woman distinctly right above us. There's the stairs that went into that room right next to us. Could hear her in distress, like somebody being assaulted, that kind of distress, crying out, despair, whatever. And once again, I'm like, I looked over at my mom. I've never seen my mom afraid, but she looked afraid this time, and she just was staring. And I said, "You hear that?" She said, "Yes, I hear it." I said, "Who is it?" And once again, she says, "I don't know, but God knows who it is. And I'll trust God to take care of it, whatever their problem is." And I said, "That's a good answer." And there were some things there I'm not even comfortable talking about, hauntings, negative things. One time, I took my girlfriend up there, not that long ago, showing her the place, maybe 3 years ago, 2 or 3. Probably 3. And we're walking up the stairs. There's a couple of ways upstairs. And we're walking up the stairs towards that same room. And she's behind me. And it's kind of dark in that stairwell going up there. And I felt somebody grab my arm. Right here. Just felt somebody grab it. And I turned around like, what the? And I thought maybe I bumped into something. There was nothing there to bump into. And it felt like cobwebs and somebody touching me. And she's standing behind me down the stairs. She couldn't have done it. She was too far. She was like 6 feet behind me. And she wouldn't have done this anyway. And she's kind of looking at me, kind of wide-eyed. And I said, somebody just grabbed my arm. And she says, "I just saw a ball of light come out of the wall and go right into your arm, right where I said somebody grabbed me." She said, a little, like a ping pong ball of light with a trail behind it, come out of the wall and went right to my arm. So that happened at my mom's. I'll probably remember things after this video. But, yeah, the place was haunted. A lot of people passed down there. And who knows? But that was my mom's place. And that's kind of a minor story. I have other stories to tell. And I've got some photographs of the place and the time. And my scanner broke, so I've ordered another scanner. I want to scan these pictures so I can put them in the video. Because I told the one story. It took me about an hour to tell it. And I don't want my face to be on the camera for an hour. So I'll post those. But it's kind of a minor story. I wanted to tell this story, and get it done. And hope you all are doing all right. This country's America's, and I think the world's going through a very hard time. Occurred to me today, we're going right exactly where God wants us to go. There must be a reason for it, Just part of the journey. So hang in there, whatever you're going through. Come on, puppy, stop growling. All right, that's it. Story 43. Thank you. I'll post some more soon.